There is a lot to go over when it comes to crowdfunded board games. This is actually a video I spent a lot of time on, really digging into a lot of things coming up, a lot of things happening right now. So much so that I've actually opted to split this into 2 videos, so it's not some huge hour-plus long thing. So stay tuned for the next video that I do, which will cover stuff that's just announced, that's coming out, some deep dives, and some exclusive looks at some board games that are coming up. They're going to be super cool. I'm excited to share that with you. This video is focused on what's available pretty much right now. So if you're wondering where the landscape is of crowdfunded board games, at least the games that I'm looking at, the campaigns that I'm covering, then this is the video for you. All right, so most of these are going to be live right now. Some of them are going to be ending like soon after I publish this, so all the links are in the description below, and a few are going to launch like right after I post this. Either way, all those links in that description, go ahead and check them out. They are there for your convenience. And if I missed anything, of course, let me know. Okay, so here's Skytear Horde campaigns. This is by Skytear Games. They've been doing this Skytear stuff for a while, right? It started out as kind of like a MOBA thing, then turned into more of a card game where they kind of like spun off some of the card stuff from the MOBA game. And there's actually a new MOBA thing from them that'll again be in the next video. So you'll hear more Skytear stuff at that time for sure. This one, however, just launched like at the time of recording. It's at 81,000 raised. Already 406% funded because the funding goal was only 20K. So they're doing well. 791 backers now with 790. So they're well on their way to that 1,000 backers, which is the ideal amount, I feel, to at least reach minimum for that purchase, right? And for the longevity of any system you're in and support and stuff like that, right? It's just good to get that 1,000. 1 to 2 players, very much solo friendly. In fact, that's really like the way that I would probably recommend playing this. By the looks of it, that's a great experience there. And of course, they have stretch pay in 6 installments for as low as 9 USD per month. So, like, again, it's a card game, and these card games can be cheaper, which is super nice. As it says here, the feeling of TCGs and card battlers like Hearthstone and Magic, but solo or co-op. So it's not competitive at all. It's literally you going against, you know, the cards that are being dealt against you kind of thing, right? Which, again, there's a few card games out there now, you know, Marvel and stuff like that support that style of play. And that's really what this is, but it's been doing it for a long time. Since 2022, there's been Skytear Horde, and there's Monoliths, and now there's campaigns. And in fact, you can get all 3 in one nice box here, and it looks like it'll help store everything, it'll help set up and tear down quite easy. I think that's super nice, definitely something you'd want to do. It also supports stuff being sleeved, plus the deluxe tokens and playmat. Definitely the kind of box you'd like to see after this much game to support it. I do the same thing with the DC deck building game, stuff like that. So that's pretty cool. The campaigns, by the way, is the new stuff here, right? So if we're looking at the campaigns, which again, you don't have to, you can do the one-off, but it says here that 97% of new cards in campaigns are still playable outside of campaigns. So if you just want to enhance the one-offs that you've been doing, you can do that. The campaign is really these 4 connected games that kind of carry over. You start with like a weak standard deck, and then you upgrade from there. And like your castle health is from one to the other. So it's slightly crafted, but not super crafted. In fact, as it says, there are scenario combinations that you can do, right? So it's not like it's some like huge epic narrative thing that you're kind of thinking of. Instead, it's just a cool way to play multiple at once, if that makes sense. So, and by the way, that looks cool because it almost looks like one picture, which I think is kind of neat. So that's fun. Anyway, yeah, it's not too bad, right? The campaign is €30, or sorry, you save €30. It's €49.99, so €50. Which again, not too bad, especially when you put $50 over 6-month payments, right? That's where you get that less than €10 a month, right? Returning get 70, and then new player deluxe, if you're new to that, gets 189, right? So about 190. If you look down here, though, you will see that there is a 285 for the new collectors. That comes with all the sleeves, plus like art book, stuff like that. This is probably a good one to jump into. Otherwise, if you've been in the system, which as you can see, there's a really good support for players that have already have this and want more of it, which I think is awesome. It shows that I feel the people that are backing it enjoy it. And I think that's a good thing to see. All right, next up we have Mythic Battles Isfet. This one is on its way out. As you can see, at time of recording is 51 hours. By the time you see this, it's probably about at the 48-hour mark. So 1 to 2 days after posting this. If you missed it, I apologize. I've been covering it, and I try to give you these last-minute warnings as well. So if you haven't subscribed, be sure to. That'll help YouTube know, hey, I actually want to see these videos when they are posted, and not just whenever the algorithm gets to it. So that'll help you get notified of new videos, stuff like that, so I can let you know. So the 51 hours, though, I'm glad I'm able to cover it before it closes, because one thing I don't know if I saw or not, but there is a Conan crossover, which Conan being my wife's favorite board game, probably the board game we have played more than any other. We've played just about every scenario there is, some multiple times over at many different player counts. Have a blast with Conan. Great game. This is adding a whole lot of Egyptian stuff, which, if you know, like the Stygia expansion, stuff like that, like really makes sense. You get 6 scenarios, 3 adventure and 3 solo co-op, 5 hero sheets, and 40 plus tiles, cards, and tokens to accommodate your backing of the Egyptian Isfet campaign here. So you can't just get this, right? You're going to need the minis and stuff like that, but this adds support for Conan as well, which I think is awesome. Now, if we go to stretch goals, you can see some of the updates here. I think the last time I showed off, I know we had the monkey guy. I think we're right around this area. So we got like a leopard person, the Bastet. We got the Sphinx. They do have a solo mode that they're supporting digitally. And then you have more troops, another hero, another monster. This monster's cool. It's just a big snake. Can't go wrong there. Another god, another hero, 4 more troop minis, and a new monster, and they're coming out with another hero as well. So they are doing quite a bit, right? Definitely the stretch goals. This is the way to get the game for sure. This is a lot of really cool minis that they're adding to it. And again, just adds variety to that skirmish. They're at 951,000 USD raised, so they've almost broken 1 million. Still 4,600 backers. I think that's quite impressive. This is now the 4th or 5th time we have had a Mythic Battles campaign over many, many years. And the fact that people are still interested, are still wanting more, are still enjoying the game enough to back it says quite a bit. So I think that's super awesome to see. I know I personally really love the system. It's a good skirmish game. So I am happy with it. And obviously want the Egyptian thing. Again, my wife's favorite theme is the Egyptian. So between the Norse and the Egyptian, I think we're sold on that. So that's awesome. I don't know what they're going to do next. I think it'd be kind of interesting to see what theme they're going to do next. So if they are, and what that'll look like. So I guess we'll see. I'll let you know. Okay, I put this on my last video. Agemonia reprint plus new heroes. What I think is kind of cool, first of all, again, last minute warning here, 67 hours at time of recording. So again, right around that 2-day mark for you guys by the time this is edited and uploaded and published to YouTube. This is pretty cool. 2 new heroes. So that's really the only new thing here, except they are adding some stretch goals. I'll show you those in a moment. One thing I think is awesome is the fact that there's still almost 3,000 backers for this reprint of Agemonia. Again, shows that people are actually interested, are enjoying it, and want more. And I think that's always a good sign to see. And I always appreciate when these games aren't just one-off and then they are not supported any longer. So, and again, this is just a reprint plus some new heroes, events, items, stuff like that, right? So if we go to the daily unlocks that they're doing, it's going in reverse order. So the bottom is the latest here. And as you can see, they've added new pets and a new profession and new events, new items, new talents, standees to accommodate everything, promo cards. They have been doing a whole lot of stuff here. So definitely one of the nicer things to do. I love the art, by the way. The pencil art is just always fantastic there. So very cool to see. Again, feel free to check it out. I like covering these more indie games and companies so that they can get the support that I think they deserve, but can't always garner from a dedicated video or something like that. So very cool to see Agemonia doing well. And again, that purple box just stands out so much. All right, Europa Universalis. This is the Defying Destinies expansion plus a reprint. The Defying Destiny expansion just covers essentially a whole lot of like smaller powers. And then they also have some alternative stuff, and it looks like, for if you're into Europa Universalis, this is definitely what you want. I covered this in a little bit of a negative light around some pre-marketing campaign, but at the end of the day, that's just marketing, not necessarily reflective of the board game itself. My understanding is the people who get this do indeed quite love it. And yeah, it's rated, 8.7, which is pretty high. It has 702 backers, and again, this is also pretty new, so 20 days left to go. So again, approaching that 1,000, which is good to see. This is honestly a nice support for it. So it's 180, so pretty expensive for the deluxe reprint. And then the expansion is 48 euro, right? Which is about $16 or 16 euro a month if you pay with the stretch pay. And then they have the extended standard edition, right? So the deluxe edition for even more, that's 135. Actually, that's less than the deluxe edition. So that's good to see that the extended because it's standard versus deluxe. Gotcha. Anyway, they have a whole lot. The return backer all in is 225. Now, a lot of this is just pimping it out, doing stuff like, as you see, all these token trays and card trays and stuff like that. But this is definitely a game that I think would benefit from it. But the newcomer all in, 435 euro. Very expensive, quite pricey. Still, 46 people, they're in for it, which is awesome. And I hope they really like it. That's at, 145 euro a month, even with stretch pay. That's pretty pricey. There's a lot there, right? But these are super nice, right? It's got like a tray lid and everything. And I mean, they have definitely pimped it out. Now, this also doesn't quite include everything, as it says here, except the errata pack and flavor pack. So like the flavor pack, for instance, just adds new stuff. This one is Britain themed here. And so, you know, if that's what you're into, you can get that. Obviously, there was another way to get that. I've already covered that. We're not going to go over that again. And then the errata pack here is 14 euro. It's interesting that like the newcomer all in doesn't include that. I'm assuming it's included in there. I'd have to investigate more. If you know the answer, feel free to let us all know on this. I spent a long time reading these, but I can't go ferret out every little bit of information. Suffice it to say, doesn't include the errata pack, doesn't include the flavor pack that you had to like pre-order for 5 euro before the campaign launched. So other than that, again, approaching that 1,000 backers there. All right, next up, Cysmic. I've covered this a bit too. Cysmic is now fully funded. Cysmic is now unlocking stretch goals. Cysmic cheated its way there, but not on purpose. There was a backer that gave him a whole bunch of money and has now been peeling it back. Ironically, though, that also helped them fund. So again, covered that in depth, and so that'll stay there. But either way, they're doing campaigns a little bit differently here for sure. Definitely being very transparent. Their updates are a great read if you're interested in the industry and business side of the campaign. Definitely a good read to see how backers can affect them and what that looks like there. Suffice it to say, though, it is a success. It is finally coming. I know they worked really hard on that, and I think that is awesome. So if you're interested, there are still 10 days left to go, and you can join, again, approaching that 1,000. I don't know if they'll hit that or not, but they're definitely getting close to that. So then they can do the 1,000 minimum order and then have some left over for web sale, convention sales, or helping actually like do replacements and stuff like that. Normally they cannibalize some other packages to like replace a mini or something like that you need. So either way, should work out pretty well for Star Reach Games, and congratulations on pledging. And again, this is just a circular map, so I know some people don't like those, but where you're going around with your units trying to build up this rocket, and the slow building of it's pretty darn neat, I think. All right, next up we have Dark Blood. Dark Blood finally launched. It's at 233,000 euro raised, over almost 1,800 backers. So quite a bit of backers, still 6 days left. And again, the stretch pay, they're showing 9.9 euro a month. Definitely advertising a lot of that. This is a Euro game, but it's not one that's like super heavy duty when it comes to all the components and stuff. As you can see, it's a little streamlined there. Now, this isn't the best picture to show everything you're getting, obviously, but you know, most Euros, a lot of times they have so many different mechanics and systems at play that it just adds a lot of bloat. This seems to me to be fairly streamlined, which is kind of cool. They did have the cool feature of being able to hang your minis, so that is kind of neat, I suppose. But a lot of that, like this right here, see where they're hanging the mini, which I think is hilarious, is like extra. So if you look at, oh, by the way, they've been doing a ton of like stretch goals, like just an insane amount every so often. They're they have a lot. Now it's all piecemealed out, like we put wording on the bag, that's the printing on the game pouches and stuff like that, but still pretty darn neat. So it's really just the one thing, €99, you get Darkblood, the board game. So it's as simple as that. As you see, that's what everybody's done. And then you can do these these like add-ons and stuff. So like the Tree of the Damned here, for instance, is an add-on. So you don't get that naturally. So just as an FYI. But you do get the 6 pieces of rope to hang the peasant miniatures. In my opinion, it's probably the best €10 you could ever spend. If you're going to get this game, you gotta be able to hang your minis. I'm sad that that's an add-on, but necessary. That is pretty much required if you ask me. Don't get this game and don't be able to hang your minis. This is cool. So all the rest of these here are the actual paintings of the cards. For instance, my wife would love me to get this one. She wouldn't love the €400 that it would cost to do it, but they have some great paintings here. A lot of them already taken. Again, it's the original painting. They have one of each of these, right? This is like the real thing. In my opinion, it's a great way to be able to show off the art, especially human-made art. That's rare and rare these days. But also, it's just a nice way for somebody to get something that's collectible and also help your funding goal raise a bit more. May as well if you've already done it. I think that's cool. Obviously, I don't know what the shipping looks like on all that. Probably nothing pretty, but super cool that you can get the original paintings. So, yeah, anyway, good for them. They're doing well, and I think that's awesome. All right, next up, Grimcoven. Now, Grimcoven broke 2 million, which is quite a bit in today's day and age. If you recall, the last Nemesis, I think, was over 17 million. So there's always those, like, few that, like, go super big. 2 million, though, still quite good. Over 10,000 backers, which is awesome to see. That's got a great amount of support there. And they're doing quite well. So 8 days left on this, by the way. So I'll probably have one more at the very end to show you on an update there, but definitely pretty big. Now, it is always interesting to see the conversion, right? 40,000 people were following it, 10,000 backed it. So that's a 1 in 4. Honestly, in my opinion, that's pretty good conversion. I've seen far less than that too. So that's not too bad. So that's good to see. And they're still doing, stretch goals and all that. That being said, their stretch goals pretty minimal so far. I mean, they've done a boss, right? They have an elite enemy here. They have a new hunter, the doll here. Now they're having you pick between the werewolf and stuff here. So here's a werewolf. Here's a vampire. In my opinion, the vampire looks nothing like a vampire, and they have the same legs. And in fact, they're almost mirrored even in their, like, poses of their arms. I don't know, maybe it's just me, so this is a little bit of a side point, but obviously they had the fiasco a bit where they released AI art that was raw AI art with a lot of artifacts that they didn't clean up. And sure, we've all been saying that their art style is like AI for a long time now, and they've probably been using AI for a long time now. As far as I know, they haven't directly talked about it too much yet. It just, coming from Darkblood here that has the actual paintings that the people made, and then coming to Grimcoven, it makes me start nitpicking it, right? Like, why is this chain attached to his fingernail? Like, is that really an artist decided that the chain needed to be there? Or is it AI decided that a chain needed to come off of his fingernail, and then they just left it there because at least the chain came out good? I keep looking at stuff like this and it bothers me. Or the little artifacts that you see just kind of flying off randomly, off of the sword. I don't know if that's making any sense that it's floating there. And I keep looking at all their art like this. And I know that's not ideal, right? To what's AI, what's not? But we know AI was involved, and so it's how much of this is human touched versus not? And I keep seeing that everywhere here, and it's kind of bothering me. I can't not see it. You have the miniatures, right? But then once you get to the art, what's this floating here? Is this needed here? Is this an artifact, or did you clean it up? Or this floating here? What's going on? I don't know. I keep looking at it, guys. Is it just me? Let me know your thoughts on that. I haven't, once it was very obvious, oh, they use AI artwork. Now that's all I see in my head, and it's not going away. And I'm not sure I can handle it, just because it just, I don't know, for whatever reason, it just pops out to me so quickly. Now that even here, I can still see the artifacts that they touched up, right? And I don't know. Let me know you guys' thought. I think there's going to be a lot of people that really enjoy this, obviously. One-off boss battlers aren't very often. A lot of times they are these big narrative campaign things, so I appreciate the one-off aspect of it. It does differentiate a little bit. It does have a little bit of that Bloodborne style theme to it, which is cool, and the minis seem to be coming along quite nicely, but the art, I can't really like whose other idea was it to like give them the same like legs? Like, why does the vampire have werewolf legs? I don't know. Like, is this just two versions that came out of it and they're like, here's the two? You know, like I don't know. You guys let me know your thoughts. Next up, HEXplore at the Mountains of Godai. This comes out in 2 days, so it's probably still not quite out by the time I post this to you guys, but it will be very soon. So by the time you're watching this, especially if you're not subscribed, or if you're seeing the video a little bit late, then this is probably actually live for you. Either way, it's linked down in the description below, of course. And this is by HEXplore. It's a very big system that a lot of people really enjoy. Their campaign pages are kind of weird because they're very wordy. Like, this is their big like it's like a whole lot of like lore dumps and stuff like that, and they're just, I don't know, they're very wordy. Like even on the features here, it's like this small print, like they have all this stuff, which is cool, but but you see this beforehand, which is just, again, some lore dump. It's very odd. HEXplore's always done this, and it's always made it more difficult for me to like find, oh, what is it that you're doing? Oh, this has floating sky tiles. That seems kind of cool, right? It is 2 different empires here that you can play, which is kind of cool, I think. And here it does say, here's the product features, again, reiterating it. But again, still, like, not PowerPoint friendly, right? It's still not bullet point. Like, it's bullet point, but it's like full sentence to 1 to 2 sentences bullet point, right? That's what it almost seems like. It is just a little wordy. But either way, this is launching June 21st, so again, very soon here. And as you can see, it does expand the map a little bit. You have these floating tiles and stuff, which are kind of cool. So there are some new features here, which I think is pretty neat, for sure. So if you like HEXplore, you'll probably like this one. If you're new to HEXplore, I don't know if this is the one to jump into or not. Depends on what they offer. All right, next up, Odalin Dungeons of Doom. This comes out in 6 days. So again, I'll probably have one that's like another news video next week for you guys on like, hey, this is now launched. This is now here. What I'm showing here isn't really anything new. You guys have seen this for a while. In fact, they need to do another update, I feel, to keep people looking and show off new stuff. Obviously, I did unbox this. I do have the prototype. I'm reading through the rule book now. I'll get some game sessions in. I'll let you know exactly what I think of this. I'm excited. Again, there's obviously a Diablo ARPG like route to this, and as a big fan of that, I'm super excited for, you know, all the different loot systems and elites and bosses and just crafting characters and classes and all that kind of stuff. I love that kind of stuff, so I'm excited for it, for sure. This will come out again in about a week. Next up, we have Blood. Blood is also coming out about a week, around the same time. Now, the more I look at this, the more, again, these minis are tempting me. This is kind of a bother. So I've been unsure about this. It's a boss battler, but I don't necessarily see the huge uniqueness in the boss mechanics per se. However, looking at this some more, it does look to be quite a bit different in the gameplay style, like of the arena with the 3D elements that they're big on and stuff like that. So I don't know. I'm still kind of debating. I will say that it looks beautiful. That is for sure. Between the art, between the minis. Now, obviously, these are renders. Don't expect this on the final plastic mini. They do a PVC ABS mix. Their minis are typically quite good. This is like 3D print level good, which it would be awesome if they had the STLs. But what I love is the fact that they're actually putting a lot of detail into their miniatures to like tell a story, to tell you more about the person. And again, even like the facial features like that, it's just huge to see. They always have these kind of different facial features that are really showing their personalities a bit more, right? And so I do love that. Again, how are those fingers turn out, right? That is the question. They never mold their minis with the final production in mind necessarily. They just let their artists kind of go wild on it and then figure out the production afterwards. So we'll see, like, how does that look? I don't know. I'm not exactly sold, or this fine detail here, will that be there per se? We'll see. But either way, I do love the style. Again, the minis are looking cool. I really appreciate all the different aspects they have there, and they have quite a bit. They will be doing the 2 different materials there, 2 different plastics, and as you can see, again, the detail level is fantastic. It really is really good. And the minis look great. So like these guys here that are like shoving a spike through their like side and then out of their mouth. Fantastic. That is a cool design, right? So there's definitely some cool stuff going on here. I don't know. I'll have to look into it more. I like the look of it. That's for sure. I do love a boss battler. That's for sure. It just, this to me doesn't show anything. Like this to me almost looks like Storm Thunder when I played that back in the day. As one of the few who have played it because it's not out yet, but that's a different story. Suffice it to say, Blood looks very pretty. It looks to be quite competitive in the pricing of it too. Once the campaign comes fully around, we'll have to see what's in store for us. But super excited about that. Now, that is it for what's available now or coming out immediately that I'm kind of looking at. If there's anything else I missed, again, do let me know. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below on either anything I didn't cover or on what's on display now. However, I think it's very important to always know what's coming out farther in the future because you might want to save up for that and pass on one of these if one of those is something you want to go all in on or are more excited about. So you can use your money wisely. So my next news video is going to cover all of the stuff that has just been recently announced. GameFound did a lot of stuff on there, but I've dug into a lot of it. Again, I do have some exclusive looks on some things that I've been working with the developers on to like be able to show you guys. So I'm excited about that. So stay tuned for the next video on that for sure, so that you know now here's the lay of the land, here's what's coming up, what am I interested in, and then back accordingly. Guys, thank you so much for your support as I've come back onto the channel doing these things regularly for you. I hope you do appreciate the time it took to be able to put all this together for you. It's a pleasure, and I'm happy to do it to show you guys more not necessarily in depth, but what stands out to me in all of these campaigns. So if you do appreciate that, again, a like on the video does help a lot. Guys, thank you so much. Have a great rest of your day. Take care. Bye, guys.